I've got a story to tell you. It's about how I went from being a 16-year-old, 230-pound, basically obese kid cut from my varsity baseball team all the way to a professional athlete, and how along that path, I've developed a company over the last 15 years that's transformed tens of thousands of lives. Everything I've learned, the systems from it, and what you can do with all this information. But first, we're going to go all the way back to kind of my personal story. And along this path, I want to invite you guys to pause if you have questions wherever you're watching this or listening to it. Put it in the comments. If you're even doing it live, put it there. I'm going to circle back. I'm going to address these things. But I thought it'd be impactful because, and the reason we're even diving into this is going to be this September 2026 is my company, Life of a Fighter. That's the original parent company that I founded 15 years ago in September 2011. So I want to share a story of my own personal transformation, the company's transformation, the lives we've touched along the way. Today, it's going to be me going into this topic, but we're going to do for the rest of the year, basically, content and guests and episodes and sequences on transformation, having different stories, having different perspectives, educational. We're going to have our actual medical director, Dr. Eric, come on, and I'm going to be doing a follow-up episode with him, talking about hormones, talking about our medically informed and integrated coaching practices that we currently have, and a variety of questions that even came in prior to that. So with that being said, I'm going to go all the way back. This is when we're going to go back to 2003, when I am 16 years old, or maybe 2003 to 2004. Okay. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a backstory, and then we're going to tag in with backstory and with the transformation side of the stories. I'm also going to give you actionable steps that you can kind of pair and the things I've learned along the way. Let's start with number one. When I was 16, I loved playing sports. So that was the one thing that I learned right off the bat is you didn't have to force me to go out. Like I would go when it was wintertime and go practice, go to do all the things because I was excited about it. At the same time, I did over the years playing summer ball, playing year round. I eventually burned out at a different stage, and I didn't want to spend the off season just focusing on baseball. And I ended up doing it because in my mind, I was like, I'm going to be a professional baseball player. I'm going to be a professional athlete via baseball, which obviously didn't happen. I became a professional fighter, still became a professional athlete. And the idea behind that is finding a passion, finding something you're interested in as a spark. And let's go back to 16-year-old me. Think of like the body type I had. I would invite you to think I was like Mo Vaughn. I had power, but I was slow. Like I could hit home runs, I could hit doubles and all that, but like I'm not stealing bases. I was a first baseman. I could play third base too. I pitched a little bit. I could catch. I was playing the slower positions. I had a good arm. The point of saying all of this was I wasn't going to be a value to my actual high school varsity team at the time because the style of baseball that we were playing when I was cut was you're going to steal bases. You're going to put pressure on the other team. You are going to make them make mistakes. You are going to psychologically break them and force errors, which was a beautiful strategic move by my coach. But here's the heartbreaking moment that happened for me. I was 230 pounds. I was about 5'11". I was slow. I was not fast. I was strong, but like I was not adding a tremendous amount of value in the style of baseball. My coach basically cut me. And I thought I was a shoo-in because the year prior, we had won a state championship. I thought, hey, I was on the JV team where we won the state title. I'm going to be bumped up to varsity my junior year. I'm going to be going into that. Even if I'm not going to be a starter, I'm going to be second string. I'm going to be adding value, and then I'll be able to like move into that starting position. So this was a massive heartbreak. And this is kind of when you look at a story, the part of a transformation is you are going to face. I'm willing to bet that if you are looking at a transformation or you're in the process of transforming or you want to create a transformation, there is going to be some discomfort, heartbreak, or pain you are going to go through. If that is true, know that that is almost a part of the formula. It's part of the equation, and you are not alone in that. I know I experienced it. And then when I tag that and I draw a parallel to the tens of thousands of lives that we've worked with, even I see Dina here. What's up, Dina? And like working with you. And like, I know we've experienced heartbreak and going through these things, but it's impactful. It's motivating. And it's also the spark sometimes we need. The great quote that jumps out to me here that makes me think of it is, when the pain of remaining the same is greater than the discomfort of transformation, you will transform. You will take action. So needless to say, I was heartbroken. I immediately after being cut, sought out working with a strength coach. I started training. I lost weight. I went from 230 pounds to 150 pounds in basically 3 months. I don't recommend that, by the way. That wasn't the healthiest strategy. That wasn't because of my strength coach, by the way. My strength coach was awesome. To this day, I stay in touch with him. He's an amazing mentor of mine. He was actually inviting me, hey, you need to get with a nutritionist. You're losing too much weight too fast. You're overdoing it. I was running every day. I was doing strength training on multiple days a week. And I was also doing skill training. Plus I was trying to add in. So I was doing maybe 2 or 3 sessions a day, potentially, 5 days a week with running every single day. Make sure you're hydrating, by the way. So part of this transformation is not only, okay, and it's really nothing groundbreaking, honestly. The reason I lost all that weight was I was in a calorie deficit. The caveat to that was I lost a lot of muscle going through that process because of the drastic calorie deficit I was in. I was eating maybe 2,000 calories a day, which doesn't sound that low, but when you're burning 4,000 calories a day and you're a teenager at 16, growing and all that fun stuff, my body was freaking out. It was dropping muscle. I started losing hair. That's when I started my hair loss process. It triggered a whole response. I was really fortunate. My parents got me even more time with my strength coach, invested in a nutritionist, and started really showing me the educational steps that transformed my life to this day. So I was able to get that initial part, losing weight, and have a passion, sparking a true interest with how to train. But then I started getting clarity on what it actually looked like to have a system, to have a plan, not to just randomly be doing these different things. So part of that was coming back now. And when I went away my junior year over summertime, I came back to school. Everyone's like, oh my God, you lost all this weight. And that feels good, right? There's also part of the transformation is you become something new, right? And then there's usually some praise or some validation that comes with that, which can become a slippery slope. We're going to get into that. But part of the transformation, the big thing I would highlight, even from that little journey, that little saga right there, is having a passion for something, finding things you're passionate for. And then secondarily, you're probably going to have some heartbreak. You're going to have some aspect of pain to lead you to that transformation. And then last, being able to learn from this and create systems and being able to turn to others that have more experience than you in those systems, which is, I was really fortunate again, having mentors and coaches to be able to turn to for that. So that's number one. Now let's pause that. That's my own personal journey. And then we're going to segue that into the business. Okay. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. We're going to bridge the gap here, but I'm going to jump back and forth a little bit. So fast forward, this is in 2004, 2003, 2004, 2005. Over this time frame, heavy 2004, cut from my varsity baseball team. 2005, I actually make the varsity baseball team my senior year because I lost all that weight. I put on a little bit of weight back, got up maybe to 265 pounds, put on some muscle. But ironically, I was still actually quite slow. I had good endurance, but I wasn't having the sprinting power. So I didn't end up becoming a true 100% value to our baseball team that senior year. So you can have all the work and still be missing key components. And now I'll fast forward about 6 years when I actually start LOF. I start Life of a Fighter. This is at the time I had moved back from Las Vegas. I was living in Las Vegas, pursuing my professional athlete dream. And I was really fortunate. Both my parents are accountants and work in the accounting world. And basically my dad helped support me in creating a business for tax reasons, right? Like creating an S Corp, the Life of a Fighter. I was already blogging and being able to pursue it. But ironically, LOF, when it originally started, Life of a Fighter was a media company. It was me sharing stories. It was me blogging. My first website ever was just MikeCaulo.com. And people would call me .com. They're like, oh, dude, you got the next blog post up, whatever. And like, it was kind of interesting to reflect on that. And at the same time, while I was doing this media company, because I was pursuing fighting, I was getting sponsorships. I was actually making money as an amateur fighter. When I say make money, I was maybe making like $10,000 a year, like not like real money, but enough to like pay some of the bills and reinvest into things. And the point of saying that is now fast forwarding 15 years, we're not immediate. We're not anywhere close to where we were 15 years ago. That's the point of transformation. You become something completely new. And the other side to that is with that transformation, I was also open and able to adapt. If I would have stayed as a media company over 15 years, there's no way we would have been in existence as a company, at least not profitably. Like maybe I could have it as a like hobby, but this is like how I pay my bills, how I support my family is through my company and the contracts we have. And that's like what I do. And that's truly something I'm very proud of. And the point of even now going back, let's take a step back. Where there was an interesting bridge here was when I lost weight, I saw a passion for health and fitness. When I started my company, it was fight-based, and I was separately working as a trainer on the side. And at a certain point, I actually realized combine those two things together. And Life of a Fighter had become going from a media company to a health and fitness-based company. So that's a little bridge of a transformation. We're going to be sharing more of these stories and people that I've known through that process over 10 plus years, not just my family, but friends and like my just consultants along the way, as long as friends, coaches, clients, people have seen the whole transformation. So now let's take a step back. Okay, I want to pause here. Again, hydrate. I'm going to invite you guys to hydrate. We'll see. I'm hoping you guys are liking the scenery behind me. I haven't even fully hung up the painting, to your point, Paul. We're going to get it hung up. I'm just trying to figure out, we just moved into a new place like 2 weeks ago. So I'm still situating where I like things, how it's positioning, lighting, all that good stuff. Okay. So with the transformation, one of the things I want to pause here and actually plug, a really thing I'm excited about, is because it's our 15-year anniversary, we're actually going to be giving away close to $15,000 worth of prizes for the rest of the year. One, we're going to be doing a legacy giveaway. That's a fancy way of saying if you've been a client with us, you will have the opportunity from now until September to basically submit a interest in winning our transformation. You're basically just going to update us. Most of our, honestly, legacy clients, like, we're going to reach out to you privately. Like everyone that's been a client, like I obviously have your information. I know where you're at. We're going to announce a winner though in September for our legacy transformation prize. And the prize to that is going to be actually a trip to our next lifestyle experience retreat. We're going to be having a lifestyle experience retreat in 2027 and 2028. You're going to get a 5-day pass to that completely on LOF. So that's going to be a bonus prize for one of our clients that's had an amazing transformation that's been able to maintain it. I already have a couple of people in mind that are going to be like well qualified. And then we're going to be putting out content. And then I'm curious what you guys think. Maybe I'll let the audience vote on this. I'm kind of like tempted to obviously do the vote myself, but I might even have you guys vote on this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, whether you're watching live or you watch this as a replay. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. The second thing we're going to do from September to January is we're going to give you, those watching that aren't clients already, the ability to win a 100-day coaching program. This is over a $3,000 basically gift card, a prize for you that you will be able to win. I and my team are going to walk you through a 100-day coaching program, and you'll be able to lose anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds of body fat, putting on 3 to 5 pounds of muscle. And the goal is to transform your life in a sustainable way. Then we're also going to give some runner-up prizes, anywhere from $300 to $500 worth of prizes and gift certificates that you guys can use. We're going to give away apparel. We're going to also have some sponsors giving away supplements and all types of awesome prizes throughout the rest of the year. So the idea is to celebrate transformations. That's a little plug for our content. If you're not already, follow wherever you're watching this or listening to it so you can stay tuned. Instagram is going to be one of the best places, as well as our YouTube, to stay up to date on our weekly content posts. On our website, we'll have the blog. On Amazon Live, we're going to be some cool stuff, so make sure you're following there as well, obviously. So let's get back into the story, but I just wanted to plug that, the transformation, what we're going to be putting out there. So fast forward now. Okay, so I lost this weight in high school. Now I decided to go to college, and I'm going to I realized I'm not going to be a professional athlete. I'm not going to play baseball. There's no way I'm going because I'm just not at that level. I realize that life kicks you in the face sometimes and makes you realize, like, hey, that's just not for you. And that's okay. So I went to Stony Brook University. It was my actual, I had 2 schools I really wanted to go to, either UNC Chapel Hill or SUNY Stony Brook. And I was, if I'm being honest, scared to go to UNC Chapel Hill. It was out of state. I got in, but it was a higher cost and I couldn't afford it. And my parents were like, hey, if you go to a SUNY Stony Brook school, then we'll pay for it. But if you go to Chapel Hill, you're gonna have to take out loans. So I was scared. Anyways, I went to Stony Brook and I was fortunate. This is like where I think in transformation is so beautiful. I discovered Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And at this stage of my life, I had already gotten my black belt in Taekwondo when I was 12 years old. But you could even question the quality of that. I mean, I was in competition. I was competing for it. So I'd like to think I was a earned black belt. Again, winning medals and pursuing the junior Olympic kind of path at a certain aspect. And then I stopped. I just pursued baseball. Going into college, I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it was at a point in my life where I really felt like I lost purpose. Okay. I lost a loved one in my life. My Umi, who was like a mom to me, and I kind of lost my purpose. I gave up on life. I was just kind of miserable. And I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And that was the first time I had someone believe in me. My first MMA coach, Eric Uresk. Also, I had a great jiu-jitsu team like Mikey Triangles, Paul Rodriguez, Red Boy Jiu-Jitsu, and like my whole crew. I still talk to like a handful of guys, like a dozen people from that gym to this day I stay in touch with. And the point of that is transformation is being able to be open to where things can lead you. And that's where I just happened to come across this post on my campus. There's a flyer. I went to jiu-jitsu, went to class, and I never looked back. I've been doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu ever since, on and off. I've been doing Muay Thai, competitive fighting, professionally fighting, and it led me to where I am now. The point of sharing that, but at the time I was like 165, 170 pounds, just a completely different body type and a completely different person. And I was doing things in a different fashion. What I learned from that is being able to not only apply the discipline and passion I had from 16 to 20, but being able to apply intention and a plan and building on the systems I learned in strength conditioning, is being able to how those things can also not only carry over in the gym, but how they can carry over in other arenas. So let's also segue that into the business. And now going into, I eventually transform my business and I start working with clients in fitness. I'm a personal trainer. I've worked for the UFC gym. I am then also going to work for hospital systems because I'm pursuing a potential dietetics route. And I realized, you know what? I want to just operate as a business. And at a certain point, I was able to do that. But the idea behind all of this is I'm going to introduce a framework. You guys have maybe heard from me in different podcasts and conversations that I didn't at the time even realize I had, but now I've pulled it out and I will invite this framework, which is the combination of awareness, intention, action, and accountability. And if I look at this point in my life, even when I was 16, I had this formula. Thankfully for my coach cutting me, he was aware and he brought awareness to me that I was too heavy and too slow. That set an intention for me to want to get back on the varsity team, to be able to lose weight, to get stronger, to get faster. I took action by getting a coach and that added accountability. And I continuously took action by training and putting in quality nutrition and doing those necessary things. And then fast forward in my fight life and my fight career in my business, I had the awareness I wanted to be a professional athlete. I wanted to be a professional fighter. That was my intention. And I had awareness that I wasn't there yet, but that I had the kind of feedback and I had people around me to support me. So I took action by continuously training. I moved to Las Vegas. I changed my environment. I put myself in the place to develop. And that gave me accountability with having a roommate that I talked to this day. Is one of my best friends. Shout out to Johnny Blanjardo. What up, Johnny Kuhn? One of the best, honestly, MMA fighters, in my opinion, that's just never seen the UFC for a variety of reasons, but story for another day. And being able to have someone that lived with me that also trained, built in accountability coaches and putting it out there, plus being able to make statements online, blogging about it, creating content around it. That's the framework that I was kind of learning and crafting. And now when I fast forward and I see that framework, when I worked with clients, the times over and over and over again, I noticed they had awareness. We were checking the scale, looking at their body composition, checking circumference measurements, looking at what they were putting into their body, how much were they lifting. We were writing these things down, documenting it in our app, tracking how much they were lifting. We were having an intention that they wanted to lose body fat, that they wanted to get stronger, they wanted to improve their performance, they wanted to transform themselves in a capacity. And then we put an action plan together. We were able to put that action plan and have accountability by having follow-up sessions on a weekly basis and having a team behind it and group classes and one-on-ones. And the point of all of this in this phase of the story of a transformation is realizing that there was a system at play that was kind of crafting and coming together. So again, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to hydrate and see if you got questions. Okay. So I'm curious to see if we have any questions. If not, I'm going to kind of like dive on into it. Again, I'm going to invite everyone watching the replay, watching and listening to this. Feel free to share questions and things along those paths. The other thing I want to offer up here is in hindsight, and this is a lot of times what happens on social media, and there's a lot of times what happens, I think, in the online space is like perception versus reality. The perception, especially on social media, Instagram, those things is, oh, it's like, it's sexy. It's fun. It's awesome. It's always great. Even when you're excited and passionate about it, that's not the reality. The reality is it sucks. The reality is you're going to have your heart broken. The reality is I got cut from my varsity baseball team. The reality is I was bullied. I was made fun of. The reality is I doubted myself time and time again. The reality is that I lost. The reality is that I suffered. It doesn't mean that was what was always going on, but the reality of it is transformation is painful at times. There's a great quote by Andrea Gibson I really love. I'm going to paraphrase it, but I'm going to pull it up here actually. I asked the sun, what was the Big Bang like? And the sun said, it hurts to become. So transformation and growth can be painful. It can be impactful, but it can be challenging. Ooh, okay, I see your question. Working out at the moment, but how can you stop procrastinating your workouts? Yeah, it's a great question. I'm going to totally dive into that. And this is like where the reality of it is. This is a perfect point to that reality. The reality is you're not going to be perfect. The reality is you might hit the wall and you might procrastinate a little bit. The caveat to this, though, and this is what becomes impactful, is having a non-negotiable reset system and be able to have a backup to it. What I mean by that is, let's say you traveled, or you have your workout program. There's been times where like, hey, I went out to eat and I didn't eat according to my meal plan. But there's two aspects to that. And then it's going to go back to the awareness, intention, accountability, and action framework. So we have awareness. You have awareness that you're enjoying into working out, but you notice you can procrastinate your workouts. So what's the intention? This is where I'll ask you. This is something to think about. What's your actual intention? Why are you working out? What's the value you're looking to get from it? What's the transformation that you want? And that's where we build action. If it's, hey, I want to get stronger, or I want to take better care of myself or anything, we build an action around that. And it's a measurable, realistic action that you take. And then you have accountability. You share that with someone. You either have a workout partner, you have a coach, you have a family member, you have a friend, whatever, that builds in scheduled accountability, a text check-in, a phone call, meeting up in person, whatever that looks like. That's the framework. That's what I would offer, if I put it simply. The other side of that is also the 24-hour rule. What I would implement, and this is actually something that one of our fighters, shout out to Deuce Carter. He's in literally Bangkok, Thailand right now. He just took silver in the World Games from the WBC Muay Thai World Festival. And he gets 24 hours after competition to mourn, to cry, to celebrate, whatever, and then it's back to work. And that's for all of our fighters. And that's what I would implement for you as well. If you have, let's say, a workout and you skip it or anything that happens, fine, 24 hours, and then you go back to it. 24 hours, and then you get to go back to some plan. You get back to your thing. For that question. Yeah, exactly. That's great timing. So I appreciate that. And let me know if that's helpful. Hopefully it is. And if not, let me know. Or if you have follow-up questions, I'll add to that. But yeah, ultimately, what are you trying to get from your training? So that's the idea of this part of what I want to invite you guys for the transformation is being able to learn, being able to have framework, being able to actually have a system at play. Now, again, I'm going to pause and just kind of like reiterate, this is something I plugged before, I'll plug it again here. We have an actual, since LOF's going to be celebrating its 15-year anniversary, we have a transformation celebration. We have 2 giveaways we're going to be doing. We have a legacy transformation for the clients that we have. We're going to be picking one winner that's going to get a 5-day retreat pass to our lifestyle experience retreat in 2027 or 2028. They'll get to pick. And it's a 5-day pass. It's over $2,500 worth of a gift that we're going to give to someone. And then we're also going to pick a winner that hasn't worked with us. From September to January, we're going to have a contest where you can submit an application. Ideally, you're going to make a video on Instagram and you're going to invite us to collab on it. And you're going to tell us why we should pick you to actually work with. And we will pick a winner, and then you will get over a $3,000 coaching package with myself and with our team for 100 days, coaching you through the whole process. So I see your goal is to be toned and fit. So we'd coach you through. For example, let's say you submit your application, you win, you're the winner. You will get over $3,000 worth of coaching in our package over 100 days. And we're going to be hooking you up with supplements, apparel. We're going to be doing a ton of giveaway components. We're going to do over $15,000 worth of giveaway prizes and packages to celebrate the 15-year anniversary. So if you guys want to, again, stay tuned, make sure you're following, stay up to date, especially on our Instagram and on our website. But even for these lives and the podcast and all that, you'll be seeing more information. I'm really excited, especially on our newsletter. We're going to be blasting out stuff on that too. So let's get back into that transformation. So let's say you want to be toned and fit, right? Here's what I will offer you that I worked with tens of thousands of people at this point. It's going deeper than that superficial layer. Why do you want to be toned and fit? First, let's define what is toned and fit. That's kind of a subjective term. There's nothing wrong with that, but what does that mean to you? I'm willing to bet you have either a measurable goal related to that, meaning a weight or a body fat percentage, or you have someone else that has a particular physique, or yourself having a particular physique at a point in your life that you want to go back to. So being able to have a more objective kind of North Star and being able to use that to inform where we want to go. So yeah, I think I need more muscle. So you want to put on muscle. Okay. So now we're starting to get there. How much muscle? And where do you want to put it on? That's as we start to shape that. Okay. And that's helpful. So thank you for that. So I want to, again, add value for you guys to be able to go back to this awareness, intention, action, and accountability framework. That's the one thing, if you can take away from this transformation content and this whole theme, is having that framework will transform how you approach things. Have awareness. So when you're going to the gym, write down or put in the app. Like we have our own app. You can like go to our website. You'll get free access to our app. You got a 14-day workout program with there too. Go check it out, lifestyleoffitness.com. You can literally get free access right now. You could track your like workouts, and you could put your weight in as well. So the first thing is build awareness to like, take pictures or check your body fat percentage or your lean body composition, whatever it is. Have your awareness. Track your workouts, track your nutrition, take pictures of your food. Even if you want to put on weight, you may think, I'm not trying to lose weight. Well, be aware. You want to make sure you're eating enough protein, you're eating enough calories to support your goals there. And then be able to have that action plan part of the intention. So you have awareness, you have your intention. Okay, I want to put on muscle, how much muscle? And then we have action. What's going to get you there? Lifting, causing hypertrophy to your muscles, or causing actual damage to your muscles, anabolic kind of positioning, putting your body in an anabolic state so that it rebuilds itself. And then you're giving it protein, you're giving it the adequate sleep and recovery that it needs to get you there. And then you have accountability so that if you do procrastinate, if you happen to not work out, is anyone holding you accountable to the gym or working out? Do you have a workout buddy? Do you have anyone that you communicate that with? It doesn't even have to be a paid coach. Like, hey, that's always a great tool, but it doesn't have to just be that. Being able to have someone to help support you in those moments is really impactful. Okay. So I'm going to pause there. This is part one. We're going to do a multi-part series, but I wanted to get this out. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to kind of leave you on a little bit of a hanger here to dive into our next one. What we're going to do as part of this transformation series is I'm going to be having our medical director, Dr. Eric, coming on. He's going to be talking about, we got some questions in on hormones, on peptides, on as we're aging, what do we do and how does that respond, especially with all the stuff going on with peptides right now. We're going to talk about that. We're talking about their transformation. And also, this is the one thing I want to share with the transformation process. I started as a media company just for myself as a fighter. And now, fast forward 15 years, we have a medical director in my company that's both Lifestyle of Fitness and Life of a Fighter. And we service people to transform their lives, but we have contracts, we have corporate contracts. We work with, again, patients and physicians, and the ability to see we have medically informed backed coaching because of our network is just really something I'm very proud of. And that's something I invite you guys to be a part of if you're interested. Even just by consuming this content, that's what you'll get from this, but also in our coaching as well. So stay tuned for our next series for our transformation over the 15-year transformation series, where we have Dr. Eric on. We're going to be talking about some more questions. If you have questions, and this is something we can even say, hey, what can help support that? We'll get into it. Can peptides help support that? Can hormones help support that? Is that the right fit? We're going to talk about that. I really value Dr. Eric and his perspective, so that's why we're going to have him on. And I'm going to leave it there. I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a great day. Have a happy 4th of July for those celebrating. And if you're catching this after the 4th of July, when the 4th of July is again, and we'll dive into some more. But again, make sure you're following. And even if you missed the LOF transformation series for the 15-year, because I try and put out evergreen style content. You can get value and structure from this. Again, go back to the framework: awareness, intention, action, and accountability. Have something you're aware of, build awareness around it, measure it, have an intention and North Star you're working toward, take action, very clear action, and have built an accountability. Leave you guys on that. GG, yeah, good game. What's up? All right, later, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Love you guys. God bless, and peace.